There are some other things that people do with yoga. It was started by people who did meditation for hours on end. And that's why they did it, because they wanted to feel good sitting for hours on end, and they also wanted to be able to walk around. They walk from town to town. That's why they developed yoga 5,000 years ago, just to make sure that they were maintaining their bodies. Now here, and we wrote this book because, and we wrote it for men because men typically do not know how to take care of their bodies. They typically do not maintain their bodies until something breaks. And then when something breaks, they go to the doctor and they say, oh, what's wrong? And then the doctor fixes it. So they're going like a car mechanic. But you know, every guy works on their cars, they take care of them, they do preventive maintenance, right? But they don't do it with their bodies. And I'm the same way. I didn't do it. I just kept going. And we were, as men, we were trained to just keep going and go through the burn. You know, keep burning. With yoga, you will not have any time when it should hurt. You'll feel a stretch. If I go like this, I can feel the stretch. But if I were to have two horses pulling in either direction, that would hurt, right? You feel that as muscles burning. Well, most typical exercises in America, they say, do it and feel the burn, feel the burn. You should never feel the burn with yoga, but you may get the same benefit out of doing a stretch that you might do out of those burning exercises, only it will happen gradually and more surely, and you won't have any injury. I taught the Roger Bacon basketball team a few years ago that they were all tightened up. And you know, they're running up and down all the time and they could hurt themselves. So we taught them how to open their body up so they could do that. What I want to teach you folks is all day long, you're sitting at a desk, right? Everybody sits at a desk? Nobody gets up and moves around a whole lot. It's not like you're pounding nails or anything like that. So there are things that can happen to you while you're sitting at a desk that you don't want to happen over time. For one thing, you're all sitting just like you are now at your desk for how many hours a day, how many days of the week, how many days of the year. What happens to your range of motion? It starts locking into that position, right? So when you reach up in the cabinet to get something, what could happen? You could hurt yourself just reaching for a cup of soup in the cabinet because your range of motion has now been decreased. Okay, you get that? So one of the things is keeping your range of motion out throughout your day. Now you're not going to be doing exercises or yoga all day long, you know, like for hours. What we try to teach is do it in little snippets of time. You can take a minute while you're waiting for an email to open up. While you're reading the email, you can do little things all day long. Okay? So it's fitting those things in. I'm going to tell you one wonderful technique that I've used. It's an amazing technique and it's very simple. If you get stressed out, anybody get stressed out ever? Nobody here? Okay. So you don't have to learn this, but I'll tell it for my sake. There is a very simple yoga breathing technique. It's called relaxation breath. Very simple. If you are stressed out, and if you notice anybody who's stressed out, you can tell they're stressed out because they're sighing a lot. If you hear a lot of sighs come out of somebody, you know they're stressed. So that's the body's natural way of releasing stress. But you can take that a step further and release the stress before you get to that point by taking a deep breath in, and when you do, count and fill your lungs as much as possible, and that usually is your belly starts going out. I know women don't like to hear that, but you know that's what happens because your diaphragm is pushing your organs out of the way. Take a deep breath in, and you count how many seconds it takes to go in, and then you exhale, and you make that exhalation last twice as long. What happens is you're controlling the breath, and you're slowing everything down by using your breath. I used this technique in the hospital. I was in for tests one day, and I was all hooked to the monitors. I thought, I'm going to try this. I got my heart rate down from 64 to 49 in 2 minutes. It works. It's really amazing. And it calms down your adrenal system, you know, so your adrenaline doesn't stop. It just slows down everything so you can be more calm and focused. So we're going to try that first, but keep in mind, it's your body. I don't know how many seconds it's going to take to fill your lungs. So I want you to just do 3 deep breaths and exhale through your nose. Everything happens through your nose because the nose is a filter. So you breathe in and you breathe out through your nose as slowly as possible on the exhalation, okay? So 3 breaths, please, on your own. You can close your eyes if you want. You can leave your eyes open. It doesn't matter. Just take a deep breath in, count. Now, if you're continuing to breathe, that's fine. One of the other things you're doing is you're doing something that you normally don't do throughout your day, and that is cleaning your lungs. Because typically, a breath that you take is about a third of your lung capacity. You have about a 1,500 milliliter lung capacity. Most people do, varies a little bit based on your size, but about 1,500 milliliters, and it's about 500 milliliters that you breathe in when you're just sitting and not trying to take a deep breath. So just by taking a deep breath, you're cleaning your lungs out. My dad had emphysema. He actually was given a tube to kind of force himself to do that kind of exercise, because in emphysema, it's not about breathing in is the problem, it's about air gets trapped in those little tiny air sacs that are your lungs. It gets trapped in there and it doesn't come out completely, you kind of choke on that. So it's about cleaning your lungs out and cleaning those tiny little air sacs of all the contaminants that could get in your lungs throughout the day. And what happens also is your bloodstream gets this fresh, deep flow of oxygen that you normally don't get. Okay? I'm going to show you another technique, and if everybody in the building does this, will all feel better and we won't feel stupid. But I have done this. I usually close my office door. If I get a little sleep in the middle of the day, afternoon like this, when it's about 2 o'clock and that time past lunch, I start feeling a little like, okay, I need something. So what I do is I do a very deep, quick breath. Now this is the opposite of the relaxation breath. You don't want to do this if you're stressed, because you will hyperventilate and you'll probably faint. If you need some energy and you're kind of falling asleep or whatever, you want to energize yourself, you do the opposite of what you just did with the relaxation breath. You take a deep breath in and you exhale quickly. Now one of the ways to do this, and you can all do this with me, stand up, close your office door. This helps kind of force the lungs to do it. So raise your arms up like this, take a deep breath, and as you exhale, you're going to exhale fast through your mouth, inhale through your nose, you exhale and go. You can do it through your nose or your mouth, either one.